All right, we're not done. We have more quick hits.
Yes.
Endrick is out of the Club World Cup for Real Madrid. Jules, this was supposed to be a showcase for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all expect a lot of rotation with all those teams that are in the Club World Cup, and maybe players who don't play much during the season will play. And that would have been the case for him. Is another injury to Carlo Ancelotti. Well, Carlo Ancelotti, not so much. To Real Madrid and...
Well, no, to Carlo Ancelotti, the Brazil coach, too.
Yeah, the Brazilian
Wearing
coach,
his
too.
other hat.
Right, absolutely. No, Jude Bellingham as well, who will have surgery. So it'd be maybe a very different Real Madrid squad that will travel to the US. 5 Valladolid fans were found guilty of racially abusing Vinicius Jr. back in 2022 have been criminally sentenced to a year in prison and fine, Gab.
Yeah, and look, I'm a believer in holding individuals responsible. Yes, in the moment, you have to punish the whole club, and you can close stands and whatever from a sporting perspective.
Yeah.
But most of all, you have to find these individuals. My understanding is that these guys were identified. They were banned by Valladolid, and that takes care of the sporting part. But if this is classed as a hate crime in law, then they have to be punished. And I don't care that it took 3 years. It's there. They're not active. Instead of a year in prison, they're not actually going to go to prison because it's going to be suspended. Most nonviolent crimes in Spain are suspended if the sentence is less than 2 years. But if they commit another infraction, they're going straight to prison. Simple as. Hansi Flick has extended his contract at Barcelona through 2027. Jules, no-brainer? A whole extra year.
Yeah,
Whoa!
it's just a year. That's the thing. So it's not too much commitment from Laporta and the club either.
They can't afford too much commitment.
No,
That's always their excuse.
And I'm not sure Hansi Flick would want too much commitment either. That next season might be enough. They win the treble, and then after they said, I had 2 great years here, I want to do something else. So I think this works for everyone. And it's a bit of a reward for what a good season he's had and how much he's transformed this team.
Can I say something? This whole thing about, managers need 3-year deals, 4-year deals, 5-year deals to stamp their authority, blah, blah, blah. It's just nonsense. Just stupid agent speak. Clubs, don't be fooled by managers. There's a lot more managers out there than there are clubs. You have the leverage. Make the guys fall into line.
Friday night, the Serie A title will be decided unless it goes to a playoff the following week. But Gab, how are Napoli and Inter looking?
It's highly unlikely to go to a playoff because it would mean that it would require Napoli losing at home to Cagliari and Inter drawing away to Como. Napoli do have some injury worries. David Neres, it doesn't look like he's going to start. It looks like he's going to go with Raspadori. He's not fully fit, but I'm sure he'll come on at some point. Juan Jesus could be back at the back, which was important because Oliveira's not really a center half. For Inter, of course, they have that small game against Paris Saint-Germain coming up. So you got to look at that too. Looks like Lautaro, he may be on the bench. He may not even be in the squad for this game. Bastoni, also probably out, not fully fit, and Benjamin Pavard as well. Of course, it's been an ongoing thing. It's going to be weird deciding a title on a Friday night, but I'm excited. Those 2 games obviously
we'll be watching
at the same time. Napoli simply need to equal or better Inter's result. Simple as that.
Plenty for Milan to worry about. Pulisic's contract stalls. There's still no sporting director or coach at this moment in time, and the fans are on the warpath ahead of the final home game against Monza.
That's right. There's going to be a protest against Monza. They're very, very angry at Conceição, who will obviously not be there because Clever Clogs got suspended. I don't even know if he's going to be in the stadium. Honestly, if I was him, maybe
it's just stay at home.
Just go away.
It's already in Portugal.
They're very angry at the ownership, Jerry Cardinale, I think first and foremost. The Pulisic stuff. Sorry, the sporting director, it looks like it's going to be Glitare. Supposedly it's been agreed. Although we've heard this before.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I thought that was agreed in January.
Yeah, supposedly that's going to be signed next week. The coach will follow after that. Vincenzo Italiano is the latest name to be brought forward. I'm slightly skeptical that he's a decent fit. From Pulisic's perspective, he has 2 years left. So obviously you want to extend. But equally, if I'm Pulisic, just say, well, wait a minute. I should find out at least who's going to coach me next year, who I'm going to interface with as sporting director. I'm in no rush. I don't need to be doing this now.
Too right. Carlo Ancelotti is on his way to take over the Brazil job, but the guy who hired him, Gab, is on his way out.
That's right. Oginaldo Rodriguez, who's been kind of following him and trying to sign him since 2023. If you remember, there was a dispute. He had to step down. They submitted a petition signed by a bunch of judges. Some people are accused They're saying that one of those judges' signatures was forged. Now, if you believe you're in the right, I would think you would appeal to the Supreme Court in Brazil and keep your job. He's decided not to appeal. Make it that way you want. Somebody named Samir Shoud, who apparently is the only candidate. Funny, nobody wants to be Brazilian FA president, is likely to take over on Sunday. Not the greatest environment to go into if you're Ancelotti.
Yeah. FIFA are going to use dynamic pricing at the World Cup, Gabby. Can you explain for some people who don't know what it is, why it is?
Yeah, so this is actually pretty commonplace in the US. It's a bit like, when you go on an airplane, right? We might sit next to each other, but you might have paid $300 and I might have paid $99. The idea is prices fluctuate and change based on demand. They nerds write up an algorithm.
Yeah,
this is pretty customary for tickets in the US. They're doing it already for the Club World Cup. They'll do it for the World Cup. However, they're only doing this for neutral tickets or kind of third-party tickets. So if at a World Cup, a big chunk of the fans get the tickets via their national federation, and so those prices will be fixed. They buy them in advance. You can get different types of packages and whatnot. The funny thing with the dynamic pricing, which you see it a lot in concerts, it's coming to concerts in other parts of the world a little bit, is that prices can go up or they can go down. And what we've seen for the Club World Cup is that in several cases, for several matches, prices have actually gone down.
That means not enough people wanted to buy some. Is that okay?
Exactly? Elsewhere, it becomes like an auction. Again, the argument is it's going to be mostly US-based fans buying this. Presumably, they're accustomed to it, and sporting events in the US are much more expensive than they are in other parts of the world. Ryan Cherky has been called up by France for the upcoming internationals. Okay, Jules, is this when I have to stop saying that he's going to turn out for Italy?
Well, no, you can still say, Gabby.
Why hasn't Spalletti called him up?
Well, one maybe because he doesn't have a passport. So it's difficult to play for a country and represent a country when you don't have a passport.
You can get one.
You can get one. I'm not sure how quick you can between the announcement of the squads and the first game. But I think he could have also picked Algeria or Italy, as you said. I think he wanted to play for France. Deschamps said he could have called him up in March. Instead, he was Doué and he didn't feel there was enough room for both. This time there is, incredible season for Ryan Cherky at 21 years old, 12 goals, 20 assists in all competitions in 44 games. The best season of his life, in the form of his life. And this is a well-deserved call-up. I don't know how much he will play because obviously it's the Nations League semi-final against Spain. It's a big, big game. I don't think he will start, but it's great to have him in the squad because I think he can change the game at any moment. As a super sub, as a starter, I think... Depending on what happens in the semi-final and whether they play the final or not, he might have more game time in the second game. But yeah, that's great news, I think.
Ryan, I know I might appeal to you. I know you obviously do not feel Italian. You're much closer to France and Algeria. Rightly so. But come on, man. Be selfish. Think about yourself. If you go play for France, you got to deal with Barcola and Doué and the Kylian Mbappe guy who I'm told is pretty good.
Yeah, Olise.
Michael freaking
I think
Olise.
he's the replacement, the number 2 behind Olise to play in that 10 position, I think.
And what if Griezmann comes back? Like they just have so many players.
Platini.
You mentioned Dembele. Platini. Yeah. You go to Italy. Honestly, you walk into the side. Your competition is Orsolini, for crying out loud. I know Orsolini, great player, scored a goal this season in Europe this year.
Lovely scissor kick.
Seriously, man. Honestly, we're open to it. We took Mauro Camoranesi after all.
He might not play at all in the next 2 games, so he will still be available. Because call-up doesn't count. He has to play.
Okay, but Deschamps would have to be a real something that rhymes with trick to call him up.
But but I'm still saying, why if he picks up an injury?
There's still time, Ryan.
There's still time.
Honestly, and if you don't come to Italy because you don't like the food, look, you're close enough to France that you can still get French food, and there's enough Algerian immigrants in Italy. There's some very good Algerian restaurants, so you can tick that box too.
Absolutely.
Come on, just please.
And it'd be so easy for you, Ryan, to communicate with your new friends and teammates and coach. Because I'm sure loads of people speak French in that Italian squad.
Donnarumma can translate for you. I'm sure he's picked up from French.
Yeah, true.
So come on. We won't see Wendy Renard and Eugénie Le Sommet at the Women's Euros, Jules. This is supposed to be the last dance.
Yeah, it was, Gabby. It was. I didn't see this one coming. I don't think anybody in France in the media saw that coming. For us who follow the women's national team, I don't think Renard and Le Sommer saw it coming either. They were in the squad for the last international break, and this time they are not going to be for the next two in the Nations League, and obviously not then for the Euros. Laurent Bonadei making that decision. Because it's been leaked to us, so he hasn't come out yet and confirmed it or talked about it. So we will ask him the question.
I hope it's been leaked to them first.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think they probably found out in the press. That's why I gathered last night. Is Jani Summer good enough anymore to play for France as a starter? Probably not. No, because she's 36 and she hasn't played much for Lyon this season anyway.
She's younger than Chesney.
That's true, but still, she started like her career
Right.
at international level when she was like 15 or something like 20 years ago or something ridiculous like that. For Renard, however, I think this is more surprising because she's a starter in what is the best team in France and the third or fourth best team in Europe this season, and she's younger, and she's the national team captain, and she's the most experienced, the most respected figure in that dressing room. So that's a huge call, more Renard than Le Sommer really, from Bonadei, and one that could easily like come back to haunt him, I think. So
If the leak didn't come from them, if it came, because I mean, I don't want anybody to reveal their sources, but situations like this, I would expect if the coach is going to drop two players like that, especially Wendy Renard, as you said, I would expect him to call Renard and then Renard's people leak it. But if the leak comes from somewhere else, he could still come around and say, no, it's not true.
yeah, maybe
That's why I
there's
haven't called
another
them.
twist. Yeah, maybe there's a twist.
If
Although
they found
I
out from the
doubt
media
it.
reports. I don't know.
I would find that surprising, but yeah, maybe we'll have to wait and see the announcement of the squad, which is I think today or tomorrow. Blackburn Rovers have withdrawn from the second flight of the Women's Super League here in England. Gab, what does this tell you?
It tells me that the model is broken. That you cannot, if you wanted to have professional women's football, you cannot simply go and copy the English or any kind of men's pyramid and say, oh yeah, let's go and do the same thing. You can't do that. Cristiano Ronaldo missed a penalty and then scored a penalty in the 7th minute of injury time as Al Nassr beat Al Khalij 2-0. Why are we telling you this? Well, partly because it's Cristiano and it's good for traffic.
Of course.
But also he's 65 goals away from that 1,000 mark that is now a thing.
Of course.
And to be fair, it was a thing for Pelé back in the day. Why should it not be a thing for Cristiano?
Absolutely. He's getting closer. Yeah. Will he get it? I mean, probably 18 months, 2 seasons. It's just a question of where he will play next season, by the way, because he hasn't renewed his contract with Al Nassr yet. He's out of contract. Could he stay in Saudi? Right now, Al Nassr are not going to be in the Champions League next season.
He's got to sign with somebody for the Club World Cup. I think 1,000% he's going to sign with somebody for the Club World Cup. Play in the Club World Cup.
That is so weird.
Why?
What club would do that? So what? So you are a club?
Well, a lot of clubs are going to do that. A lot of clubs are taking. You can take people on loan for a month, right?
Like people you don't know, you've never played with, your players have never played with, and then you bring them in.
It's less unusual, especially for South American teams and Mexican teams to do this.
Okay, I don't know.
But if it's Cristiano, wouldn't you do it?
I don't know.
Think of the money, Jules.
Yeah,
Think of the money.
maybe, but
And you know Cristiano would come, right? He can come, then he takes 2 months off, prepares for next season.
Yeah,
wherever
maybe. I
that
was
may
more
be.
talking about next season. I don't really mind so much what he does for the Club World Cup or not. But for next season, do you stay in Saudi? But what if Al Nassr don't play in the Champions League? Do you try to go to another league? I don't know. It's a bit up in the air. I didn't expect it to be without a contract almost at that time. I thought he would have sorted his future by now. So I don't know.
He could. I still think he should take a pay cut. Go play for Inter Miami go play for Inter Miami in the Club World Cup for free, just for a month, so you can say Messi and Cristiano together on the same team.
Yeah, I'm sure they dream of that. Pepe Reina has announced his retirement from football. Gab, you love him.
I do. He is such a good person. He's a class act. He's a great pro. In some ways, he was also, he didn't get the attention that other goalkeepers get in terms of his ability to play out from the back, because many of the teams that he played for tended not to do that. But when they did, he was phenomenal. I think he's somebody that could comfortably play. Could have probably played in defensive midfield in the second division in many European leagues. always prepared, great pro, 42 years old. He's at Como. I'm assuming we're going to see him Friday night when Como played in his last game. Maybe not. But it just tells you people always wanted him around. And, Barcelona, Liverpool, Milan, Lazio, Aston Villa on loan, if you remember that. Napoli, played for so many great clubs.
Great career.
I hope he finds a way to stay involved in the game because he's one of the good guys.
Yeah.
Jules, this brings us to an end. But we got to come back on Monday.
Of course.
It is the last day of the season in the Premier League, in La Liga, in Serie A. Tons to talk about, and then we're going to start the countdown to the Champions League final. Until then, and also, cup finals in Germany and France. That's going to be right. Let's start Rams, because that would mean that Lyon won't have to worry about playing in the Europa League.
Yeah.
How about that? Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.